2025 has not been an easy year for traders. I've been trading for 5 years, and here are some pieces of advice that I can share with you. If you've went through the hard work of getting funded or building up your account just to take a huge back step in these last couple months, let me tell you, you're not alone. There are a lot of traders out there who have not been able to find their footing in this market, and there are a couple main reasons. Number one, that confidence that you built up is a double-edged sword. Your ability to read price is only dictated on the fact that you have an edge. Now, if market conditions change, and let me just tell you, they will, and they will continue to do so, you have to adapt. If you keep forcing the same old setup on a new market condition, you will not get the same expected outcome. I know this might come as a shock to a lot of you guys because you think in such short periods of time that you've never taken a minute to look back and say, you know what? That setup did work for a few months and then it stopped. No, you're so focused on getting that eval passed, getting funded, getting your first payout that you forget that the market is much bigger than that. The moves happen on bigger time frames. The moves happen from different locations. And more importantly, climates or market conditions will rotate over longer periods of time. So maybe you were really good in the previous 6 months, or maybe sometime last year, right? But when market conditions switch up on you and your inability to adapt to those conditions is what's going to bind you to your bad result. What you need to remember is this. When you run into an issue, you need to take a minute and stop and say, you know what? What did I do wrong? Maybe you took a loss. Maybe you hit your daily loss limit. Ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Am I doing everything I can to learn from this mistake? Or am I simply trying to force a broken system on a market condition that is not in my favor? This is the one thing that's going to separate you from the rest of traders. Most traders will continuously bash their head against the wall using the same flawed strategy for months and years even, not to realize that the market just shifted on them and that they needed to adapt to that market condition. There will be times where markets range, and I'll tell you this, that is most of the time. But then there will be times, very specific moments in fact, historical moments even, where trend is not something to fade, where the trend becomes your friend. You need to focus on that. Where are these conditions where markets are completely out of balance? And ask yourself, am I making the most of this opportunity, or am I taking the information and am I distorting it in my head? Because if you sit there and you consistently see one thing, but your brain tells you it's the opposite, you're not going to have the right outcome because you're thinking in delusion. You're thinking of what once was, not what is. When you start to look at the market for what it is, you will start to understand that there are opportunities no matter your setup, no matter your strategy. You could find something that will work for you. And that is something that I want more traders to be proactive about. That's why in my Discord, I give people the tools to journal and understand how to break down their trades. I also do this on live trading. I show people the thought process that goes into identifying an A+ setup. This is something that I know a lot of prop firm traders have never even considered. They don't even consider journaling. They don't even consider revising their strategy. They just think that this one simple setup is always going to work with no nuance. And I wish that were true because let me tell you, I would be doing that. I would be using that. But the problem is strategies evolve and your ability to stay resilient while markets change, that's what keeps you in the game. If your ego is the size of your ambition, you're never going to make it because that drawdown that accompanies that is going to put you out of the game. So you need to take a minute. You need to sit back and assess the situation for what it is. Am I making the most of the opportunity I have right here? Am I seeking outside guidance? Am I studying the material? Am I back testing? Do I even know how to do these things? This is stuff that I teach traders all the time. If you do not know how to back test, you need to type on this laptop right here, look up on YouTube and find a video on how to back test. Hell, I even have one. And if you need more specific guidance on this stuff, you need to reach out to somebody. Find someone who is doing something that resonates with you. Find someone who has a strategy that makes sense to you and ask, hey, how can I learn from you? I want to take your experience and I want to condense it and I want to accelerate my learning curve. That's how you get past these slumps. That's how you get out of drawdown. You take a minute, you stop, and you pivot. You don't continue down the same flawed route. If you continue to do the same thing that you know is not going to work, you're never going to get the outcome you want. Or maybe by the time that the market does rotate back in your favor, you're out of the game. You've lost all the money. The accounts are gone. This is the time to be diligent. 2025 is the year for traders to know what their strategy is before they get that funded account. Why are you going to waste money getting that instant funded account if you don't have the strategy back tested? If you don't know how to backtest, that's your first concern. Don't even worry about getting funded. Don't even buy the account. Go find someone who could teach you how to do that. Go find someone who knows how to dissect a setup. Go on YouTube, look it up. But these are the things that will keep you on that hamster wheel if you do not do them. You need to improve your strategy. You need to be very specific with what you're looking at, and you need to understand the market conditions that will dictate which strategy you're going to be applying. This is a real talk for real traders by a real trader. If you have questions, leave a comment below. If you enjoy this video and you find that someone else that you know needs to hear it, send it to them. And if not, we'll see you next time. All my links are below. As always, take care.